This woman lost her lover because she did something forbidden by the local residents. They knocked on the door of a woman named Mary, who was said to be an evil witch. At first, nothing happened until one day a man named Danny experienced a strange incident in his apartment room. As if someone was watching him there. He looked out of the room and there was a tall, dark, long-handed woman. Danny tried to call his lover named Chloe and wanted to tell her if maybe the legend the residents said was true. When Chloe left her laptop for a moment, Danny was pulled by something strong and evil. When Chloe returned, she didn't see Danny, then he suddenly appeared with a scary face. The tension didn't stop there. Chloe tried to call Danny, but there was no answer. Then, not long after, Chloe's apartment room became dark. The water in the sink turned blood red, and then a hand appeared to scare Chloe. Luckily, a male guard came in hearing Chloe's screams, but nothing happened. Since then, Chloe decided to move to her mother's house. Jess? They didn't get along because Jess left Chloe in social services while she herself remarried to another richer man. Jess had a reason for that, but it wasn't the right time to discuss it. Even though she was at her mother's house, Chloe still got terrible terror. The food she ate looked like there were human teeth in it. Not only her, Jess also got horror at home, especially since her husband, Ben, went out of town on business. Jess heard a noise in one corner of her house. She saw a woman dressed in black, looking scared and crying. Then the woman ended her life with a knife. It turned out it was all just a dream, but it still made Jess a little scared. Chloe's presence in the house made Jess's friend, Tara, feel something strange with Chloe. She hurriedly left them as if something evil was attached to Chloe. Tara didn't explain in detail, but she warned Jess to stay away from Chloe because she was being followed by something very evil. Not long after, a man named Broadman came, a detective who was handling Danny's disappearance case. The last person to meet him was Chloe. Chloe tried to explain that they might be terrorized by Mary's ghost because they knocked on her door. But Broadman didn't believe in superstition. Chloe made Jess even more confused. Was it true that Danny's disappearance and the strange terror in her house were because of Chloe? One night, Jess saw her red cloth caught on one of the statues in front of the house. As soon as she approached, suddenly some of the lights went out. This must have something to do with Mary's ghost. Chloe, who was in the house, was scared because Mary's ghost appeared, making her cornered in the room. Unfortunately, hiding there wasn't the right thing to do. She was even more cornered. But luckily, Jess came just in time to save her. Jess and Chloe burned all the doors of her house because Mary's ghost usually appeared from behind the door. But it seemed useless because they were facing terrible magic. Jess felt that Tara might be able to help her. She came to her and asked for a solution so that Chloe wouldn't be terrorized. To remove the curse on Chloe, they must clear Mary's name as the person accused of killing children in her time. Mary is believed to be the cause of the disappearance of several children at that time. But other sources say that Mary was innocent and accused of the crime until she finally committed suicide because she could not stand the ridicule of the residents. Chloe returned to social services while Jess found a file and a flash drive in her house's warehouse. The file showed Broadman interrogating and forcing Mary to confess her actions when she was still alive. Does that mean Broadman is the mastermind behind Mary's death? The search continues. Jess invites Chloe to visit Mary's house, but Chloe is kidnapped first by Mary's magic. Jess tried to get in through a small hole in Mary's house. Unfortunately, she was hit by a nail when she entered there. The house around Mary was installed with CCTV, so the police found Jess and took her out because the house was forbidden to enter. This time, Jess had the opportunity to talk to Broadman. Jess accused Broadman of being the mastermind behind Mary's death, who should have been innocent. But Broadman didn't understand what Jess said. Jess tried to escape from the interrogation room using the blood on her feet and then made a message on the wall. Not long after, a terrible figure appeared behind her, caught her, and then took Jess to another world, where the ghost was. Jess was sure Chloe was in this location. She started looking for and calling Chloe, who was being held in a prison. At that time, Chloe was not alone. She saw the figure of a small child named Michael, who had disappeared several years ago. Michael was eaten by the ghost, and Chloe would wait her turn. Not long after, Jess managed to find Chloe. They had to hurry away from there, otherwise they would be in danger. The ghost began to appear again and was ready to pull Chloe to eat. On the other hand, Broadman came to Mary's house and heard a voice asking for help. Broadman entered the house and was caught by the ghost. Chloe and Jess managed to get out of there, which turned out to be connected to Mary's house. Broadman asked for help, but they seemed to be afraid and unable to. On the other hand, Ben returned from his business trip and saw his house in disarray. Then he saw someone standing and asked what had happened. Tira appeared with bloodstained clothes. What had she done? Then Chloe and Jess returned home and saw bloodstains there. It turned out that Tira was the one responsible for the bloodstains. She killed Ben. Tira was part of what happened to Chloe and Danny. In fact, she also made Jess feel that Broadman was guilty, even though he was not. Tira was the one who planned it. The curse would end if Tira succeeded in making someone else die. In this case, Tira succeeded in making Broadman die. The curse will then be transferred to Jess as an extension of the devil, demanding a sacrifice. If she wants to end it, she must do exactly what Tira did. In other words, Jess is trapped until a replacement is found.